Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about popular books I love and popular books I didn't so love. I don't think I hated any of them. You know, I hate yucking somebody's yum. I could have the exact same taste of book as somebody and then one book we totally disagree on. So it doesn't mean that you still don't have loads of other things in common. Popular books I love, popular books I didn't love. Let's just say that. Not so negative. I hope everyone is settled in. I'm going to keep this video quite short. I'm not going to go into depth on any of these books because they're quite popular. I think people know about them already, but I'm just going to tell you my quick thoughts on them, and yeah. Okay, the last one. I think honestly there is just a certain type of person who, if you like Sally Rooney, you love Sally Rooney. I absolutely love her. Now, this book I didn't love as much as the other two, but I still loved it. I actually think I need to reread it again because I don't think I gave it my full heart and soul, you know? But the other two just stuck with me a lot more. I clearly remember my younger sister, telling me she had read Conversations with Friends and telling me this new book had come out. I was living in London at the time. I still live in London. Went to the local bookstore, picked up this book, and she said, "Oh my God, I absolutely loved it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, great." Knew nothing about it. Obsessed. I know people talk about the fact that she doesn't punctuate or doesn't do quotation or speech marks, but it didn't affect me at all. And I remember because I read it so soon, like it was the day it came out, I came back and got it and read it. I didn't even notice. And maybe that was a better way to go into it rather than knowing that it wasn't there. I just flew through it. I think it actually made it easier to read. Maybe that's just my brain. But honestly, one of my favourite books of all time. I think I've read it twice. So good. I actually think I'm due for a reread. Love it. Absolutely love this too. I actually sometimes think to myself, do I prefer Conversations with Friends? I don't know. I know people prefer this, normal people, but I really love this. This was Sally Rooney's first book. For her first book. Unbelievable. It's actually funny. She was in the same year class. She was in the same course as my brother in Trinity in the same year. So I was always like, "And what is she like?" He was like, "I wasn't friends with her more." I'm like, "Oh, damn it. Why can't you be friends with her?" So that is my little climb to the fame of Sally Rooney. As you can tell, I love Sally Rooney, okay? Yeah. And I don't think I've read a book that I like quite in that kind of vein of book that is as good as her. I'm just going to say it there. Other books that are popular that I absolutely adored: The Song of Achilles, and more importantly, Circe. I love Song of Achilles, but Circe was my jam. I love description of nature of any kind, and that one just hit the spot for me. Madeline. Please, for the love of my heart, come out with a new book. I am refreshing the whole time. I'm like, please. I need a Circe or a Song of Achilles in my life again. And I've read loads of other Greek retellings, but none of them have hit the spot quite like hers do. She is a great writer. Absolutely adore. The next books or kind of series of books and stuff I'm going to talk about, I don't have physical books of, so I'll pop up here. All the Taylor Jenkins Reid novels. I haven't read them all, but I have read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones and the Six. Is that the only three I've read? But I've enjoyed them all. Like, now they're not 5 stars, but they were really fun to read. Flew through them and really enjoyed. Yeah, good ones. I'm not gonna write home about them, but they were really fun, good reads, and I understand why they're popular, and I give them, I think, 4 stars, which is great. Then we're moving on to Where the Crawdad Sings by Delia Owens, another really popular book. Very divided opinions, I think, by people, but like I said with the Madeline Miller Circe book, I love that description of the marshes tell me why. I have just been dreaming of going on a holiday there since reading that book, and that's how much the imagery stuck with me. Nature imagery like that I can put myself right there with a little bit of whodunit and crime and beautiful love story, and just yeah, I love that book. If you've any recommendations of books exactly like that one, not exactly. Another book that actually, it's not in this list, but that kind of reminds me of terms of the nature kind of imagery is Hamnet. I love that. Where the Crawdad Sings. I loved it. I really, really loved it. It just scratched that itch, and I don't think there's a book called The Paper Palace that keeps coming up as a recommendation if people like it, but they say that they talk about like child abuse in it, and I don't know if I want that. So let me know if you've read that and if that's a major part in it, or what, if you think I should read it. It's The Paper Palace by, I'll pop it up here. But yeah, I really love that book. So, and the final book on the list, again, I don't have a physical copy, but I think the reason I love this book so much, and I know it's cheesy, but I read it just coming up to Christmas and going into the new year, and it was just what I needed at that time, and it was The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I know it's cheesy and I know it's predictable, but I loved it. I loved the magical realism, loved going, you always have these kind of moments in your life where you're like, what if I had done that instead of that? And I've certainly had those moments in my life, and I'm really happy with where I am right now, but you do always think. And it's just a very hopeful, lovely, cozy book. It's a sweet book and you'd fly through it, and if you're thinking of reading it, why don't you give it a go and read it around Christmassy, New Year'sy kind of time, when you're a little bit more thoughtful and a little bit more open to, maybe the heart's a little bit more open. Okay, that is it with the positivity. Now we're going negative. No, I'm only joking. And I swear I am not going to go negative with these, and I'm not going to go into huge details about why I don't like them, because I have the physical copy here, and I'm sure a lot of you will be like, sorry, you didn't like this book based on what I like, what kind of books I like. And I know, I was really shocked that I didn't like this book. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zavine. I have bookmarked some stuff here. There were some beautiful lines or paragraphs or things that were said that really, at the time, I was like, struck a chord with me, but that was it. I didn't really love the main characters that much. I didn't care so much about what happened to them and what was going on with their gaming thing. And I love games. Ready Player One is like one of my favourite books of all time. It just didn't flow that well for me, and I'm like, I'm really sad. Like, this is actually one that I'm really sad that I didn't like. And it's a big book, so I'm not going to give it another chance. Tell me, is anyone else who would normally like a book like this didn't like this one? I can't put my finger on it, but I just didn't love it. And that, I gave it 3 stars. It's not like I hate it, but I thought, I was going in being like, this is gonna be a new favourite for me. Let me know if you've read this, if you like these kind of books usually and you didn't like it, or if you love this book and why you loved it. And yeah, it was disappointing. Sad. Next book is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This was a solid 2 stars for me. I mean, could be a 1 star. That's probably one of the lowest ratings I've ever given a book. I honestly was reading it, and I actually got a recommendation from one of my favourite booktubers who I love their recommendations, and I always love the books that they give, and I was like, right, I'll give this kind of very typical romance a try, even though it's not really my thing. I don't know whether I liked any aspect of the book at all. Maybe because it went fast. I'm really sorry, but it just was, I didn't like either of the characters. I didn't like the way they talked to each other. I didn't like the hair. It just was everything. I was like, oh, I can't even remember much about it. I just remember really not liking it, being really disappointed and being like, oh my God, why did I read that? But I'm sorry if you like that book. It just was not my cup of tea. Right, moving on to the next is Verity by Colleen Hoover. Again, this isn't like a 2-star one, it's a 3-star. I really like the thriller aspect of it. The romantic parts of it I just didn't like as much, and I loved it actually made me, and this is so funny that I'm giving this a compliment, it made me feel so on edge. I remember reading it and she was down the couch and then she sees her up at the top. I was like, But overall, it just wasn't the kind of thriller I like. But I will say the reason I'm putting Verity in here, because I actually did like it enough, is that I know that the most of Colleen Hoover books are more, this is probably the most thriller like crime kind of creepy book that she does, and the rest are more, they have that kind of aspect but more the romantic side. And it made me realise that I definitely don't like the romantic side, so I won't like any of the other ones, because my favourite part of Verity was the creepy parts and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Are you team manuscript or what is it, the team things? Anyway, I think Verity is innocent. I never liked him, and I didn't really like our main person. Verity, justice for Verity. Is that the right? I don't know even know. What do people think? Comment down below. What do you think? How do you think it ended, and which do you think is the truth? I really want to know what people think. I feel like, do I have the popular opinion where everyone thinks Verity actually wasn't bad? Or is that just me? Okay, and we are ending with acotar. I was going into this being like, this is going to be an easy, fun read that's going to keep me captivated. It's going to be a page turner, and I'm going to be in these worlds, and it just didn't give me that. It was a 3-star for me again. It just wasn't for me. It didn't captivate me like I thought it would. It wasn't the imagery, you know, like I've said before, I love when things are very, oh, I can see it with my mind, the way that you're telling me this story, it's very vivid. It wasn't that for me, and I didn't really get a sense of the world as much, and maybe that's to come in the series, but yeah, it just was a little bit disappointing for me, and I didn't love it. Again, I got a 3-star, so I liked it and I got through and I didn't hate it. I think the one I hate the most was the hating game, which is funny. And I didn't even hate it, but I did, no, actually maybe if we're going to say hate, I think the worst for me was the hating game. The rest are all 3 stars, but they just, what, you know, when you come in with a high expectation and you are sadly let down, that's what the other books seem to me. But look, I think that's fair enough, and I think everyone has their own opinions, and I am not going to be like, oh, you like that book? No, like, I'm sure there's some books that I liked that I said in the popular books that people are like, how did you like that book? Like, that's the cringiest thing, or that's such a crap book, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. But isn't it amazing that we all don't have the same opinion? Because how boring would it be if we all had the same opinion on everything? And this is what makes it more interesting, and reading more interesting. And another reason why I started my channel, because I was so frustrated that none of my friends read the books, or they sometimes do read the books, but not really to the extent that I do, and I had nobody to talk to them about. So now I'm talking to you guys about it. So please let me know what you think about my list of books I've mentioned there, and I hope everyone is having a great day, great evening. I'm gonna end it there, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.